Welcome to How to Run Profitable Retreats podcast, the podcast that guides you not to only host retreats that thrive financially, but also transform people's lives. I'm your host, Lainey Cavazos, and each week I bring you the best strategies and personal insights to help you create retreat experiences that transform lives, both your clients and your own. In our journey together, we'll dive into the secrets behind successful retreats, from crafting a unique atmosphere to mastering the logistics that ensure profitability. Whether you're tuning in for inspiring interviews with leading retreat experts or seeking actionable advice in our solo episodes, this podcast is your go-to resource for turning your retreat visions into reality. Don't miss out on any of our episodes and subscribe now. For more tools and a free guide on creating your own six-figure retreat business, visit theretreatplanner.com. Now let's get started and make your retreat dreams come true. Hello, welcome to another episode on our podcast, How to Run Profitable Retreats. And today I am so excited to have Nathania Stambouli. Honestly, the first time I met her, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's such an awesome woman. And I'm so excited that she gets to spend some time with us today. And she is the founder and creator of Yogi Flight School and Soul Tribe Adventures. Is a 500 ERYT. I can never pronounce these letters. I don't know. It's always a tongue twister. Yoga teacher and transformational coach. So you're in for a ride. And she teaches people from around the world how to defy their perceived limitations and fly on their hands and in their lives. She's a cat lady, lover of iced coffee. Oh my God, me too. And lives to lead people towards the most free and expressed version of who they are. Thank you so much for being here today, Nathania. This is so much. Oh, I feel just so great because I know we've been waiting for this for we met, I think, in like maybe 6 months ago, and we now get the chance to just spend time together and have a beautiful conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here talking about retreats and transformation, and entrepreneurship is my favorite thing in the world. So I'm so excited to see what we get into today.
Yes, of course. Well, tell us a little bit about it, right? Because I know you have your company for retreat that is doing absolutely amazing. I remember also like how you started, and I think people want to hear that as well. Like, how did it all begin?
Yeah, wow. So we get to rewind back to 2015, where it all began. I was working as a marketing director for a wholesale company. I was working in a warehouse in an office with no windows. I really hated my life, and I would scroll Facebook and see people like on a Tuesday out for a jog or at the beach or having lunch with a girlfriend. And I'm like, how do people do this on a Tuesday when I'm stuck in my office on a Tuesday with no windows? There has to be a secret to life that I'm not understanding. And so one thing led to another. I signed up to do a yoga teacher training program. About 2 weeks into my yoga teacher training, I said, this is what I want to do with my life. I quit everything else. That's it. So I saved up some money and then eventually quit my office warehouse job and started teaching yoga. And it's so fascinating. This is something that I preach now to anybody who will listen, is leap and the net will appear. Like, take the big risks, throw yourself into what your heart is telling you want to do, and trust that the net will catch you. I spent my entire life waiting for the certainty of what was going to come on the other side. The certainty will not come until we take the leap. And only once I took the leap and I was like, you know what? I quit my job. I have no idea what I'm going to do, how I'm going to make money, how I'm going to, as long I just did it. And then the answers came. Opportunity, 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 one after the other. And one of those opportunities was randomly, I posted on Facebook, I quit my job. I'm a yoga teacher. Ha, yay. I'm freaking out. Somebody saw that and messaged me and said, I'm running a retreat in Bali for 10 women, and I would like a yoga teacher on my retreat. Would you like to come with me to Bali? I'll pay for everything. Just come and teach yoga. I thought like I died and went to heaven. Like, I'm sorry, but I went from, I quit my job, I don't know what I'm going to do, to literally a month later, somebody handing me a trip to Bali on a silver platter. And all I had to do was go and teach yoga, which is what I was doing anyways. Amazing. And so that set the ball in motion. So I was teaching yoga on one end, and then I went on this retreat and I saw how she did it. And immediately, like, my background is in musical theater. It's in summer camps, like musical theater and summer camps is how I spent my childhood. And I really wanted to figure out a way to do that as an adult. How does one play theater games and hang out in nature as an adult? By leading retreats. That's how. So, yeah. So, as I was facilitating yoga on this women's retreat and very grateful to have had the opportunity to be there, I was watching going, I know how to do this and I know how to do this better. I don't mean to be an asshole when I say that, better in the sense that like I saw all the places that there were opportunities for play, for games, for breakthroughs that she wasn't taking. And I started to piece together my own retreat in my head. And I got back from that and was like, universe, this is what I want. I want a retreat of my own. So I'm going to look for a place. I'm going to put down a deposit. I don't have any money because I just became a yoga teacher and we make no money, but I'll figure it out. And so I did, and I put down money, and then one more, like opportunities just continued to fall into my lap, and I had a sold out retreat for my very first retreat. Don't even know how it happened. And the rest is history. After that, it was just like, okay, let's go again, let's go again, let's go again. And now I do 4 retreats a year. Now I work with my life partner is also my business partner, and we do them together. But essentially, it all started by me taking a huge leap of faith and saying, I'm miserable. Nothing will change until I choose to change. So here we go. Worst case scenario, I'll go back and get another job. And I never needed to do that so far. So
This is so amazing. I'm getting goosebumps as you're telling your story. Like they just keep like coming. I'm coming, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, this feels so right and so aligned. And
yeah,
and I feel everyone in this audience can understand what the taking a leap of faith in your business looks like and is, right? It's so important to actually have this leap of faith and just keep showing up, because the reality is that we're here to create our future, our destiny, our dreams into reality, right? Like
yeah.
it's our birthright. We get to do it, but we do need to have the faith and we need to go for it. Like we need to take action, right?
Yeah. And I think where we get stuck is we want clarity and certainty before we take action. And the truth is that clarity only comes from taking action. We cannot be clear until we take action and see what works and what doesn't work. And then we fine tune, right? And then so many of us are like, no, I want to know that this is going to be the right thing before I start. And I think we can't. We have to do it the other way. And it's very scary. And that's where trust comes in. And trust that if you're following your joy and you're following the truth in your heart, I have yet to meet someone who the universe was like, nope, not you. You don't get to live your dreams. Not you. It only doesn't happen when we're not aligned, when we're trying to live somebody else's life.
Yeah, we want to do something that is not really what we really, really want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like so many times we're like, oh, this is a perfect job, the perfect office with the window view, and all my friends want this, so I want it too. But your soul is really maybe more of like a traveler soul. And then, of course, you're not getting that window view office, right? And you're like, but why? I'm doing all the right things. I keep showing up to work. I meditate that I want my office, but really, like, it's all in your head and it's not in your heart.
Yeah.
Right? So it's once you get into the heart and you allow, for me, I love this about yoga, right? Like in and then now I blank with all the names of the poses, but when you're doing like warrior pose, right? Like I love the piece where it's like, okay, you lead with your heart and then you allow your head, your mind to follow. This is one of the biggest teachings that I've received from yoga, right? And I am not a yoga teacher. I did take a 50-hour yoga teacher training because you know what? I wanted to learn how to place my hands. This is the reason I took a yoga teacher training. And of course, I didn't do it 200 hours because I didn't intend to become a yoga teacher. But I wanted to learn just how to place my hands because I kept going to yoga classes and every teacher was telling me something different, or they would not tell me. And I was like, I am definitely doing something wrong because this doesn't feel right. So I was like, well, if I really want to know, I just need to learn from someone who really, really knows his stuff, right? So then I went into this training, and in my family, my brother is a yoga teacher training, like a yoga teacher, and I went with his teacher because I knew he was good, and I love this because it's bringing us to the place where it's all about like loyalty marketing that I absolutely love. It's about like, now I don't go to retreats from people I don't really know, because like I take courses from people who have like I've been referred to in a way, right? And it's so beautiful to get to have this community, and I'm sure you already have like a community has built from all these amazing retreats that you're leading all year long.
Yeah, it's almost, my partner and I were laughing and going, oh shit, about this the other day, because our last few retreats, 50% are returning clients. 50%. So
Wow.
our retreats are 24 people. 12 people out of the 24 have come, but not even 3 years ago. They came 3 months ago to the previous retreat. And so we're now going, oh my God. So we have people who have come not once, not twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And we keep thinking that we need to change something to keep it interesting for them. And so we were having this conversation about your vision. Like, what do you want? Why are you creating this? What transformation do you want to create for people? Versus, oh my God, these people have seen this same meditation 6 times. They have done this same opening circle 6 times. And what we kept coming back to is, you are not the same person 3 months later than you were 3 months ago. Neither am I. And we can go through the same curriculum over and over as a different iteration of ourselves and get what we need out of it each and every time. So we landed on, don't worry, it's okay if you have 50% people coming back. You don't need to change things all the time. That's what we landed on. And also, I'm pinching myself because I'm sorry, what? Half of every group is returning clients. If that is not an indication that we're doing something right, I don't know what is.
Oh,
right?
yes.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really like, we do have a community. Like, these people are excited to see each other again. Like, we have a retreat next week in Portugal. 4 of the people were just together in Costa Rica in April, and they're excited to see each other again. And like, so this thing has a life of its own now outside of my partner and I. The people just, the community lives whether I show up or not.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Now the like the yoga teacher can be a different one. You can maybe actually take like a break, right? And then bring
yeah,
another like good yoga teacher, of course, and they will still come, right? Because
yeah.
you have nurtured this space, right? And it's also a place that I can feel that it's like a space, like a safe place to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's
Right? It
like
really
rule number
feels,
1.
it feels like that. And it is so true when it comes to business. We always wanna think, we're thinking that we need to change something because like people are gonna get bored from our content, right? It happens, like it has happened to me before, like on social media and stuff. And then I'm like, but now I have like my tricks to not get like get myself go through that, right? And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I posted this like already quite a few times. For sure, people are bored. And then I'm like, in this group, there's 750,000 people. The possibility that 750,000 people have seen my post, it's highly unlikely. Like, it's not like,
Yeah.
it's probably not
The
even a
algorithm,
1%. Yes.
the algorithm doesn't work that way.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep doing what I know works. And actually, it's the simplest things that actually work for my business. Like the things that I've done that like really have taken me the least effort, or the ones that I've done that I really enjoyed. And then suddenly I'm like, well, maybe I can give this to other people because like it's already done. It's there. It's hanging in my computer. You know what I mean? It's like it's there. Why not share it with them, right? And it's so beautiful because we really think always that we need to change. And the reality is that after this call, you and me, we're not going to be the same people. We're going to be completely different people. We're going to have evolved and learned something new just by having a conversation. So the same thing happens when you come to retreats, right? And I've had this conversation about like people coming back to the same retreat and teachers feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to teach something else because I feel like they're bored because they've done through the same thing all over again. But then if you're having like this huge return amount of people, be like, okay, well, you know, like in yoga classes, you start going through levels, right? You go deeper into the process so you can keep exploring more. And then there can just be a simple invitation. If you've been to this retreat before and you've done this opening circle, I invite you to just dig deeper into this question, just go more into it, or just think about what was the answer 3 months ago or last time you came and what is the answer now, right? So you can start like in a way kind of like measuring how you're feeling now, and like basically kind of like a thermometer. But you don't need to change the opening circle. You might just add one sentence, and the whole experience of the person changes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's repetition. There's something to be said, you know, even like in yoga classes, there's entire styles of yoga that are the same every time. Like every time you go to class, you will know exactly what poses they will do in what order. And that is how that entire system is. And you do the same thing every single time. And people don't get bored because you are different every single time. And
Yes.
every day is different. So yeah, and I think like what we can extrapolate from that is for anybody who's listening, who is creating a business, thinking about creating a business, already has a business, but keeps second guessing themselves. Repetition is king. And people need to see your offer, whether it's your retreat or your program or your free webinar, or they need to see it 100 times before they take action on it. And or they need to see it 100 times before they listen, right? So it's like the more I'm out there on my social media saying the same shit every single week, I have like 3 messages that I'm screaming from the rooftops, and I find 20 different ways to say the same thing because that's what I stand for. And so we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. We get to trust that the people that are meant to flock to us, the people that we will magnetize, just haven't heard us yet. And we get to keep shouting louder the same message until they come. Right. And when we're like, oh no, well, that didn't work. Quick, switch. Oh no, switch again, switch again. We end up changing too many things, and then things don't work and we don't actually know why. And the reason is we changed too many things and we didn't just stay really solid in the vision. What am I here to say? What am I creating? Who do I stand for? Who can I help? And just like staying strong in that and trusting that that will pierce through all the noise over time.
Oh, I love this. You're like speaking, like preaching to my ears. I love this because for me, it's like something that I do all the time. Like, I'm like, I have 2 programs, that's it. And even now, I'm just thinking, I'm going to focus in the one program, and the other one is going to, like, whenever I feel like it, and I'll run it again. You know what I mean? Because like more specialized program. But I'm like, I just need to keep showing up, and I need to keep showing up, and I keep showing up. And honestly, sometimes I did take a break on social media for a while because I was just like almost burning out. Not It was not a fun experience, but I had to do it, right? And I was like, okay. But by the time I came back, I'm like, okay, I need to regain momentum. And I was like, well, showing up consistently, it does work, it pays off. Like, people keep seeing you, and maybe they will not say yes this first time, but later on they're gonna be like, huh, I remember there's someone who teaches retreat planning. Oh, I know someone who's doing these super cool retreats. I'm gonna find them because they felt aligned. That's it. Like out of like my program, so many times people, like, I speak to them and they're like, no, I'm not joining this like this time, it's not the right time, blah blah blah. And the next time I put out a program, they send me a message like, Lainey, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Yep.
And I'm like, welcome aboard.
Okay. Yeah.
This is it.
I love that you said that. Every single time we launch, so I do the same thing, right? I have one signature program that I launch over and over and over and over. And then I have my other trainings, my retreats. People kind of funnel into those once they're in my community. But it's like I've thought many times of like, no, I need to be promoting this other program. Like I'm always talking about the same thing. People are going to get bored. No, I have people on my email list. Every time I launch my program, we just did a launch at the beginning of July, and I ran numbers. It was something like 10% of our sales were from people who had been hanging out on my email list for 2 years. 2 years. And they had signed up for previous launches. Maybe they did the training that I was offering at that time and didn't sign up for the paid program. Maybe they didn't even do it, but they had signed up to participate. 2 years. So it just goes to show, like, don't give up on people and keep doing your thing, because people are paying attention and they're watching in the background, even if they never say anything. There's another example from a good friend of mine who's a business coach. And she was telling this story the other day of she had somebody sign up. She has a $10,000 program. This person signed up out of nowhere and then sent her a message and says, you don't know me. I've been following everything you've been doing for the last few years. I have never commented on any of your posts. I have never responded to any of your emails. I have never interacted, but I've been watching and I love you. Here's $10,000.
Awesome.
So like, just, we get to stay focused on what we want to create because there's stories like that everywhere. So if you're out there, my people listening, and you're like, I'm making content, no one is, just stick with it because it's just a matter of time. And obviously you get to make sure that the message that you're sharing is a message that's close to your heart and that you're delivering it in a way that people are understanding it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
beyond that, it's consistency.
Yeah, I have to say, the only people who get bored of the content is us because we keep seeing it. So for us, it's like, I see it and I see it. But in a world of 8 billion people, really, how many people do you think you can touch in a lifetime? Like, not even like Joe Dispenza or Tony Robbins that have events with 10,000, like Tony Robbins has events with 10,000 people. I went to see him in person because I was like, I wanted to see him. To be honest, not my energy, too masculine for me, you know, and I was very masculine at that point, but I wanted to go see him. And I was like, I need to go see him. And I like took time off work when I used to work in a corporate office, and I went to see him, and and there was like 10,000 people around me. And it was very, very intense. It was kind of like, felt like a club. Even him that is doing these events for 10,000 people will not be able to touch more than 5% of the population worldwide. 5%.
That's why we need a whole army of us out there changing lives, because it's the numbers game. And if we're all out there changing lives, then maybe as a collective we can touch everybody eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And I think something that I also want to mention, and like, tell me what you think about this, but for me, something that I've seen is that when you are spending your time on social media or your friends, you tend to hang out with people similar to you, right? Because that's like your vibrational level. And, you know, like I work a lot with like resonance and I love it. And for example, I don't know about you, but for me on Instagram, Facebook, everyone I see, they're coaches, they're like transformational coaches, they're this, they're that. So then suddenly I've heard a lot of people saying like, but there's too many of us. And I'm like, but this happens also with doctors and lawyers. Like, all their friends are doctors because they spend so many hours in the hospital that they can only make friends in the hospital. Lawyers, like, you know, we kind of like get into this bubble, and then we think that there's no one beyond that.
So true. So true. I was complaining to my boyfriend the other day that I'm scrolling social media, and like, marketing is my life, right? When you own a business, you can say that you are this business or that business. You are in the business of marketing, period. Yes. It sucks. And it's joyful because this is what we chose. So I'm scrolling through my social media, and it's all marketing shit. How to use AI to write your emails. You should be marketing on TikTok. You should be on Twitter. You should get on Threads. And I'm like, I can't. Like, I have my marketing plan, stop it. So I told my boyfriend I need to look at videos of kittens and puppies so that I can retrain my algorithm to show me kittens and puppies, not digital marketing content. So in my world, all that exists is digital marketing. But I know full well that that's not all there is. So yeah, we end up in an echo chamber of just what we're searching and just what we're working on. And then the limiting beliefs set in. This is saturated. There's not enough room for me. Bullshit. That is your cute little limiting belief trying to keep you safe. Trying to keep you safe. There's a payoff to every belief that we have, right? If we have a belief that there are too many retreat leaders in the world and there's no room for me, there's a payoff to having that belief. The payoff is I get to stay safe. I get to not put myself out there. I get to not fail if I have that belief.
Yeah.
So we get to constantly be challenging our beliefs. Is it true? Or is it your opinion based on what you've seen in your tiny echo chamber of your cell phone? But if we take the macro view, it's like, no, wait a minute. Yeah, there are a bunch of retreat leaders, and how many people are in the world? So it's absolutely true. And I think our job as entrepreneurs is to continuously check ourselves. You know, this is one thing that my business mentor tells me, and something that I've experienced in a very real way the last few years, is entrepreneurship is personal development. You cannot take them apart from each other. If you want to grow as a person, start your own business.
Oh my God, yes.
It'll force you to. So our job as entrepreneurs is to go, oh, I have this little voice in my head. Stop, analyze. Is this true, or is this my fear talking? Is this my echo chamber talking? And where can I find evidence that this is not true? As humans, we only want to find evidence that confirms that we are right. We love to be right. I can't speak for everybody. Okay, I'll say I love to be right. I never fight with my boyfriend, but when I do, it's because I'm being right about something. Even if he's right, I'm still right. So we love to be right. And we're going to look around the world for evidence of what we believe so that we can say, see, I told you so. It's not possible for me. See, I told you, look, right? And when we do that, no possibility exists. So our job as entrepreneurs is to go, oh, look at that. My brain is trying really hard to be right, that there's not enough to go around. My brain is trying really hard to be right, that we're in an economic climate where people don't have money. Bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and to notice that and go, okay, I'm going to redirect my focus and I'm going to go be right that anything is possible instead of being right that people don't have money right now. And that is a constant. Check yourself. So I love what you said about you end up being the average of the people that you hang out with. That's been my biggest stretch as an entrepreneur, is finding new people to hang out with, because the people that from my previous life don't get it. They still work 9-to-5 jobs. They're at their boss's beck and call. And when I'm freaking out about a launch or having a new business idea, what I hear from the people in my life is, be careful. What happens if it doesn't work?
What if you fail?
And when people are like, be careful, what does that do? That holds you back. And your parents probably told you to be careful when you were trying to climb on the rocks at the beach when you were 4 years old. And that be careful got stuck in your head. So I try to hang out with people who are outrageous and who are doing things that I want to do that I'm too scared to do. And when I surround myself with those people, the ceiling gets blown off what's possible, because I'm like, holy shit, I totally thought that no one can do that. But look, my friend, he just did it. So it puts you in a whole nother thing. So look at the people that you're spending your time with. Are they supportive of your dreams? Are they like, heck yes, go create this retreat, change people's lives? Or are they like, oh, be careful, but now is not a good time to travel. But what if you lose your deposit? But what if, because if your people in your life are doing that, you need other people to support your dreams.
Oh,
you can keep those people, but you're just not going to talk to them about your business. Right? Sorry, I've been talking too long now.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. I have to say, for example, the first time I honestly, in these calls and in everywhere in life, I like to be super authentic. But I remember the first time I launched Mastering the Art of Retreat Planning, I had a very low price, actually. Like, I think it was like very, very good, to be honest, because I was like a little bit scared, like actually, I was not scared of failing. I was scared of success. And it's been quite interesting to be seeing that, because I'm like, I don't really care if I fail, because I know I'm going to be okay. Like, honestly, I've always had this inner feeling that I'm going to be fine. But at the same time, I was like, but there is something like blocking me there. But I spoke to a friend of my brother's, and I was like telling them I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm launching this. Honestly, I wrote the book about it like 8 months before, but it took me like 8 months to rocket myself through it. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually launching it. It's gonna happen. It's like, it's like, this is where I'm like, this is what I'm doing, basically, right? I had like tons of experience, but then I was just like, but anyway. And then he was like, who's gonna pay for that? Like, he runs retreats, and he does retreats that are very successful, right? So for him, he did it, like, he learned by experience. He living in ashrams for like 3 years, like he learned so many things, but it took him 3 years to learn them, right?
Yeah.
In my program, we just fast forward a bunch of like 3 years to 3 months, right? But the whole thing is like, for him, it was like unnecessary. He's like, oh, who would pay for that? And honestly, it like hurt me. I had to go through so much deep work inside of me, like to really get myself of like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? Like, that's so freaking cheap. Like I would pay for it, like with my eyes closed, and I probably wouldn't even show up because it's not expensive enough. You know what I mean? So it's always a journey. So I want to tell everyone who's here and the audience that you're not alone in this path, right? You are not alone. Like, we are all on this boat, and we all go through these processes back and forth. And some of us might be a little bit like, we have been doing it for longer, and some people have been doing it for longer and still struggling with the same stuff because they never worked on it. And for me, there's always this invitation, like when you're having these limiting beliefs, like coming in and like, oh, I don't think I can make the $30,000 out of a retreat, for example. Just swapping the question is like, what if I can make $30,000 out of a retreat? such a different energy. Like, what if it gives you the possibility and it allows your brain to go find evidence that it's possible?
Yes, I love that. Changing the question. That's another thing. It's like the quality of your life is directly correlated to the quality of the questions you ask yourself. So if we're asking horrible questions, life is going to be kind of meh, right? Because if it's like, if the question is, on what planet is it possible to make $3,000 on a retreat? You know, you're going to block yourself with that question. But if the question is, how do I make $3,000 profit on a retreat? Or what if I could make $3,000? As you said, it opens up your mind, and all it is changing the question. But we do that all the time as humans. We ask ourselves terrible questions, and then we don't get an answer that we like, and we go, see, told you it's going to be too hard. It's going to take too long. I'm just going to stay here in my comfort zone.
Let me just stay here because, you know, here it's like, I'm unhappy, but I'd rather be unhappy than unaware. And honestly, it comes all to the, like, our Maslow pyramid of like safety, right? Like, we always go back into our caveman kind of necessities of like survival and all these kind of things. But the reality is that we should be a little bit above that, right? And of course, when you're an entrepreneur, it can be scary because, you know, you have to pay rent, etc. You have your expenses and all the things. But it's also so rewarding. So you want to make sure that you're taking the right steps and that you keep showing up, right? Because if you start going, you have a dip, that's normal, right? And you can start going low and low and low and low. But then you like, and then you're like complaining because, oh my gosh, I'm not making any money. You keep going down, and then to go up is so much harder.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, oh, maybe I should go get my 9-to-5 job again.
You're like, no. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's the choice that you make, right? Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. And we all go through periods where we're like, I'm up for this. And then there's periods where you're like, I'm exhausted and I just want my steady paycheck and I don't want to have to bust my butt for it. There's nothing wrong with that. And we can't jump ship as soon as things get rough, because they do get rough. And that's what makes the good times so good, is like we made it through the tough times. But for sure, we're all in this. And any entrepreneur who tells you they don't go through this stuff is lying. Okay. So let's just put that out there. It's really easy to look around the internet and think that everyone has their shit together and think that all these people are perfect and they never have any problems. Bull crap. You know, and I love what you said about fear of success. That was true for me. My father made a lot of money when I was growing up, and then he lost everything, and I watched him lose everything. And not only did I have to watch him lose everything, he asked me to lie to the world so that we could pretend that he didn't lose everything. And so money for me became associated with lying. Money became associated with dishonesty, and money was dangerous because if you have it, you can lose it. And when you lose it, then you have to lie to people and you have to pretend and you can't be authentic. That is the story that my family created for me. That is not an actual truth, right? You can also just be honest that you don't have any more money and make some more money. Like, that's okay, right? But it wasn't okay in my life. And so I remember the first time, at first I was not allowing my business to grow because I was too afraid of making money. And then I did a bunch of work on it. I opened the floodgates, and I will never forget, I had a launch. And guys, I'm talking to you right now. I'm going to throw some big numbers at you. I don't know, where you're at in your life as you're listening to this, but 3 years ago, I was lucky if I took home $3,000 a month from my yoga studio. Okay. Today, my business generates almost $100,000 a month. Like, that's just insane. I can't even like wrap my mind around that. But in April 2021 was the first time that I truly had a launch of my business that like blew me out of the water. I think we made $30,000 in sales in one day. I was in the fetal position on the floor, crying, hyperventilating. My entire body wanted to vomit, like not just my belly, my entire body wanted to vomit. And I was like, what is happening to me? Like, literally, my worst fear of being in a box under a bridge is gone. I will never have to worry about that again. I have figured out how to make money in my business in a reliable way. And here I was, hyperventilating on the floor, because it wasn't about, my story was no longer I'm broke. My story was, holy shit, I'm abundant. And I don't know who I am if I'm abundant. Because I've spent so many years lying about my finances, so many years pretending that I wasn't broke when I was broke. And I had a fear that now that I had money, my entire family was going to want it because they had lost theirs. And that was what had been preventing me from making the impact and the income that I wanted. So I saw myself in the fetal position and I had to be like, it's okay, Nat. You just made some money. Relax. It's fine. Everything's fine. You know?
The world is not going to end.
Right. But in that moment, it truly felt like it was going to end. I called my mentor and I was like, I don't understand. Everything's going so well, but I'm crying on the floor. And he's like, well, it's bringing up your shit. Right. So wherever you go, there you are. And if you are in a place right now, I'm scared to do a retreat. I don't know who's going to sign up, who's going to give me money. There's the stuff that you get to work on. If you're at the place where like, yeah, I'm making retreats, but like I'm undercharging, I'm not making the profit that I could be making. I'm too scared to charge more. You've got your shit to work on there. Wherever you go, there you are. We all have a story. And now like I have a whole new set of story. Now I run a team of 6 people and my story is I don't know how to be a good leader. When it was just me behind my computer going, oh my God, this worked. I was just in charge of me. But now I get to inspire, motivate, champion, and uplift 6 other human beings. So there's a whole new level of like, what the fuck in my life. So my only point in saying all that is, a lot of like whatever your issues are, they're going to come out.
Oh,
and
yes.
it's a beautiful opportunity to take them on and heal whatever is going to come out.
Yeah, I love everything that you just said. Like it really speaks to my heart. Like I've been working with like money and everything like as well, because we all have money stories, to be honest. And I'll tell you my money story another time for all of you who are listening. But like mine was actually connected to health. So money makes you sick. Imagine, because my granddad had a lot and then he got sick, and my dad sometimes had a lot, sometimes he had nothing and he got sick. So both like either, so I was always in this space of like, I just need enough. That's the story I was telling myself. Imagine, I was like, I need enough. So I kept making money, but I always had a ceiling. Like my bank account would never pass a certain number of money. And then it will always like, there will always be things happening that I would have to spend the money. It will go down again. And then I will be like, no, but I can create money because I am abundant and and then it will go up again and get into this ceiling and then go down again. And I was like, what the hell is happening? Like, why
break through?
Yeah, because it was like a very specific number every single time. It was like 100,000 or something. And I was like, okay, why is it not like, pushing it forward? And then I started working on it, and it was like these belief system of like, money makes you sick. And I was like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? I was like, this is okay. So then I started working on it. And then like every time I have a lunch and all these kind of things, I'm like going through it and I'm like, okay, new things come out. And then if sometimes it feels very similar. And I think that this is something I want to share with people here. Sometimes it feels a little bit very similar, like I'm repeating like the same stories. It feels like you're going backwards, so the same things are like the same questions are coming through and everything. But then you gotta realize that it's just because you're actually going into a next level of expansion. So maybe you're like, you increase your pricing and then you need to go through the same shit again, basically, because now you're like, oh my gosh, now I need to go through this, right? I remember the first time I ran my program, I was just like, I had this very, very low price, and then I was like, actually, I'm putting one for 2,400 online. Like I had that one. I was like, this one is out there. And this, I had my like internal price, like my pre-sale, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it in the marketing world. You can choose and pick. There's so many different ones you can use. And then I just put it there. And then I was actually recording a podcast, and I just like, and the guy asked me like, so what do you do when you have like self-doubt? And I'm like, well, face it, like I'm like, there's no more, like I cannot hide anymore. Like I was just like super adamant. I like really felt it inside my body. I came out and I had a message from someone saying, hey, I want to purchase your program, can we just have a quick call? And I'm like, okay. 20 minutes later, they bought my program for 2,400. It just broke the ceiling, like it was just like boom, that's it. But we gotta believe.
Yeah,
right?
What you believe is what you create. So if you don't believe it's possible, that's exactly what we're going to create.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. We all get to be in different stages of our business, but you get to know that there is light after the tunnel, right? that if you keep showing up and you're doing something because this is like what you want to do, things are gonna work out. And that when you get bored of your content, you just gotta think that it's just you, that no one else is, because they haven't seen it.
They haven't seen it. You can slap a different cover image on it, put some different music on it, and put it out. I don't know if this will support anyone, but last year I had very few social media followers. I built my whole business with paid advertising. And a lot of people do the exact opposite. Never spend any money on ads and create it all organically. We all have a different way of going about it. But because I built my business with paid ads, I didn't ever really need to have the social media presence because I was like, fuck it. I just send traffic to my website and people buy my program. But then, I didn't want to have all of my eggs in the Facebook ads basket because Facebook is highly unreliable with these things. And I was like, if they shut it down, my whole business goes away. I can't have that. So I was like, okay, let me start posting on Instagram. And so I was like, I don't know. I refuse to post on Instagram and TikTok. No. But I was like, okay, if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I get to do the things that I don't want to do because this is how we create, right? So I committed, I'm going to do 90 Instagram reels in 90 days. So I sat there, I did 3 recording days where I just recorded 30 in one go. I was like, what can I tell people in 30 seconds that excites me about yoga? And I just recorded a bunch, put it out there. Our account grew. I think we had like 2,000 followers that we had just collected over years. We went from 2 to 10,000 in 3 months. And then after the 3 months, I was like, well, I'm not going to stop now. I'm already in the habit of recording reels. And the beauty of it now, we're a year and 3 months into this. I haven't recorded a new piece of content for social media in like 3 months. We have 300 pieces of content from the last year. And all we do now is just change out the music, change out the caption. Like someone who started following me a year ago, they don't remember this one video about how to do tree pose. And if they do, great, they'll get to see it again. Awesome. Yeah. It's 30 seconds. It's not going to kill them. So if you're bogged down by creating content, and not just you, Lenny, but anyone who's listening, it's like, okay, can you sit down, like make a list of 20 things that pump you the fuck up about running retreats, about teaching what you teach, about whatever it is that you do in the world, 20 things that light you up, that you would be able to teach someone real quick. And then just record those. That's 3 weeks of content right there. And don't care about what you look like, if you're wearing makeup, what your hair is like. My best videos are the ones where I'm like, I look like I just got out of bed, and like those are the ones that do the best. The ones where I'm like, I gotta look right, they look too polished and no one resonates, right? So just be who you are and get it out there. And it's just about getting in the habit of doing it. And then you'll have a little library of stuff that you've already posted that you can just pull from when you don't feel like making anything new. And all it takes is just getting over that first month of just getting that first bit out there, and then it starts to flow, I think, in my experience anyway.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Like honestly, with like my private clients, I teach them, whenever you're creating something of content, think about 7 different ways that you can use it.
Ooh, that's good. I don't do enough of that. Repurposing.
Yeah. Repurposing is so important. Like, for example, like I teach free classes a lot, right? So I always go, and then now I use this amazing app. I'll put the link on the caption because everyone is gonna want it. It's called video.ai. So you upload your video, and then it takes out like pieces of your video. Like it chooses the thing, it adds the caption, you download it, the whole thing. So the AI thing goes through your whole video and finds the spots that it thinks that it's like very interesting and clever. Because I run classes for like an hour. If I go myself and check for 1 hour and find the hot spots of like, where I said something interesting
all day, yeah,
I would not I would not have any content. But now that I found that, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm like, for the podcast, I'm like, I'm getting like 5 or 10 different like pieces of content from the people who are showing up that then I can share with them and they can use on their social. You know what I mean? It's just awesome. So yeah, video.ai, it's amazing. I'll put the link on the bottom of it. It's super, super, super good.
Yeah, I'm
I can,
writing that down right
yeah,
now.
I can send you. I'll send you the link, Nathania. It's good.
Good,
But
right
yeah,
away.
like there's so many ways to repurpose content and use it in different ways, and you can, later on you can have like, I don't know, you can have like mini episodes of podcasts with like, just the things that have been said, like about yoga, and you can there's so many things. Like the world is like, within the staying constant and everything, you get to be creative, and that's the fun part, right?
Yeah,
So Nathania,
for
how can
sure.
people find you? Because this has been absolutely amazing, and I could spend like too many more hours. But
I
I just feel like people who are listening to this now, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to go to one of her retreats or take one of her like 500 hour trainings, or like I know you have these super amazing headstand, like transformed like doing headstands that I love. So yeah, how can people like because I feel like people are now like, oh my gosh, yes, give me more.
You're so sweet. Thank you. Yeah. So the best place to find me is probably going to be my Instagram account. It's at Yogi Flight School. And on there, you can find my program, you can find my retreats, you can find my leadership and mindset training. But everything is linked through my Instagram. So at Yogi Flight School.
Oh, amazing. That's perfect. I'm sure like there's so many people who are going to be so interested to spend time with you because to be honest, at the end of the day, I feel that when we are running retreats or programs, it's more about like spending time with other people that are like similar to us than anything else, right? Sometimes I just join programs even if I know the topics because I know that the people who are going to be there are going to like be great people for like we're going to become friends and I'm going to learn from them. Not really that much the teacher anymore, but anyway, I know most of the people don't do that. But like even for me now is a little bit like into the space because I want to hang out with people who are cool and they want to do like they want to change the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Community is everything. So,
Yeah.
whoever's community you chose to be in, guys, like just get yourself around people who are up to what you want to be up to in the world. And
Mm.
that's the best way to grow because those people will not let you play small. They will not let you be a victim. They will pull you right along with them. So I
Oh.
love that, Lenny.
Nathania, thank you so much for all the juicy stuff that you shared today. I absolutely love it. It's so good for everyone who's listening. So thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you all on our next episode.
Thank you.
Wow, what a great episode. If you like our podcast, How to Run Profitable Retreats, leave us a review and share it with a friend.